Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. I am so thrilled you're joining us today because honestly, we are stepping onto an absolute high stakes battlefield. We're looking at the bleeding edge of mobile tech, 8 heavyweight flagship phones from 2026, all practically fighting for that one precious spot in your pocket. I'm talking heavyweights from Samsung and Apple, right through to Sony, Vivo, Honor, Oppo, Xiaomi, and Poco. The sheer amount of horsepower packed into these little slabs of glass is literally mind-blowing. But how do you actually choose? Well, we're going to cut right through the marketing noise and dive into the raw data to see who actually delivers. All right, here's the game plan for our tale of the tape. We'll kick off with the AI photo editing showdown, then sweat it out in battery life and thermals, put them through the ringer in the ultimate camera test, and wrap it all up by helping you find your perfect phone. Let's get into it. Starting off with round one, AI photo editing showdown. Okay, this first test brilliantly illustrates the stark contrast in philosophy between the two biggest giants in the room. When tested on complex tasks, like, say, removing a random photo bomber standing in front of a metal gate with all this intricate artwork behind it, the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra completely dominated. It flawlessly reconstructed the missing artwork and the metal textures out of thin air. It's wild. But Apple? The iPhone 17 Pro Max outright failed or just totally refused to participate in several of these removal tests. This was especially true if you tried to edit out personal accessories like headphones off a subject. It's highly likely this is due to the really strict privacy and ethical constraints baked right into Apple Intelligence. So you've got Samsung pushing generative pixel reconstruction to the absolute max, while the iPhone is firmly hitting the brakes. But wait, check out this massive curveball from a totally unexpected contender, the Sony Xperia 1 Mark VII. So Sony actually completely stripped away their in-house album app a few years back to stick to stock Android. That means they rely 100% on Google Photos. And shockingly, it outperformed almost everyone else. When they tested it by removing headphones that were covering a subject's ear, the Google AI generated a near-perfect human ear that seamlessly matched the subject's exact skin tone. I mean, wow. It's a massive win for the underdog just by leaning on that stock Google magic. Moving right along to round two, battery life and thermals. 7,100 milliamp hours. Just let that sink in for a second. The global version of the Honor Magic 8 Pro is packing this absolutely massive battery. To put that kind of capacity into perspective for your everyday life, that translates to a whopping 2 hours and 20 minutes of extra screen on time compared to the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. Literally, that is the difference between your phone completely dying on your evening commute versus it lasting all the way until you hit the pillow with juice to spare. And to really prove this endurance, these phones weren't just sitting idle on a desk. They were put through a brutal 5-hour stress test. We're talking intensive Antutu benchmarks, streaming YouTube, endless scrolling on Instagram, and grinding League of Legends Wild Rift. After all that punishment, the Honor Magic 8 Pro stands as the undisputed endurance king, finishing with an incredible 55% battery left. But do not ignore Sony and Apple here. Despite packing much smaller physical batteries, their software optimization is just so dialed in that both of them also cross the finish line with more than 50% battery remaining. That is some serious efficiency. Now, battery life is great, but heat is the other half of the performance equation, right? When we track peak temperatures during a 20-minute Solar Bay ray tracing stress test, we see a really fascinating trade-off. The Poco FA Ultra absolutely crushes the competition in raw frame rates, giving you this buttery smooth gaming experience. But it comes at a pretty steep cost. It runs hot. We're talking nearing 50 degrees Celsius on the front glass. It practically doubles as a hand warmer. On the flip side, the iPhone and Honor hover right around a cool, calculated 40 to 42 degrees. So you really have to ask yourself, do you want blistering raw gaming performance or the cool, comfortable consistency of the iPhone and Honor? All right, time for round three, the ultimate camera test. If you're a photography purist who cares deeply about natural skin tones, perfect bokeh edge detection, and just raw camera prowess, then you need to look at what the source material dubs the 2026 Holy Trinity. First up, the Vivo X300 Pro is completely dominating with unbeatable low-light portraits that make skin tones look so vibrant and real. Then there's the Honor Magic 8 Pro, which is flexing this advanced AI upscaling in night mode that literally pulls lost details right out of deep shadows. And finally, the Oppo Find X9 Pro. With those custom Hasselblad color profiles, it delivers these incredibly cozy, warm tones that just look phenomenal straight out of the camera. But what if we zoom in? And I mean, really, really zoom in. 100x ultra-long-range zoom is the ability to use a high-megapixel periscope lens to capture insanely sharp textures from extreme distances. Think about literally reading the texture of a highway sign in the dead of night. And here's the shocking truth. Vivo and Honor are practically breaking the laws of physics here. By using massive 200-megapixel telephoto sensors, they're delivering ultra-zoom images so sharp that they leave the traditional titans, Samsung and Apple, completely trailing in their wake. But it's not all about zooming in from a mile away. Small hardware details matter immensely, and this brilliantly illustrates why certain phones heavily appeal to traditional camera nerds. Vivo co-developed its lenses with Zeiss, and their T-Star coating practically eliminates all light refraction and lens flare. It gives you exceptionally clean shots even when you're pointing right near a light source. Meanwhile, Sony is doing something really special with its flash. Instead of that typical blown-out, overprocessed smartphone look, Sony gives you a true-to-life, natural-looking photo with amazing depth. It closely mimics using an actual physical flash on a DSLR or a mirrorless camera. Finally, we've reached round 4, finding your perfect phone. So, we've survived the decathlon. Let's connect all this intense benchmark data right back to your actual life. By breaking it down into these simple user profiles, you can easily match your lifestyle to the device that serves you best. If you're a gamer, grab the Poco F8 Ultra for unparalleled raw frame rates. Just, mind the heat on your fingertips. If you're a photographer, you absolutely have to look at the Holy Trinity, Vivo, Honor, or Oppo, for that unmatched 200-megapixel zoom and stunning portrait magic. And if you're a heavy AI and productivity user, the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra is your undisputed tank, crushing complex generative editing tasks with total, unshakable stability. Hold on, though. Before you pull the trigger and click buy, do not underestimate the real-world value of these specific hardware quirks. These could literally be the deciding factor for you. The Sony Xperia is still heroically holding the line for old-school audiophiles and creators, keeping both the 3.5mm headphone jack and the microSD card slot alive. The Poco F8 Ultra isn't just a beast for games, it physically features a 2.1-channel speaker setup with a built-in subwoofer tuned by Bose, right on the back of the phone. Insane, right? And the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, it features a game-changing anti-reflective screen coating that makes viewing under harsh, bright lighting an absolute dream. All right, I want to leave you with one final, pretty provocative thought. Looking at how Honor's AI magically upskills shadows in the dark, or how Samsung completely invents missing artwork behind a metal gate, or how Google Photos just generates a perfect human ear out of nowhere. With AI doing so much of the heavy lifting these days, are we actually buying better cameras anymore? Or are we just buying really, really smart software? I'll leave you to ponder that massive shift in mobile photography and encourage you to really think about what taking a photo even means in 2026. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the tech in your pocket. Catch you next time.